Hello friends, welcome back again to RGM English Literature and Language online classes. Today in this video we will talk about a great philosopher Plato and his main ideas about mimesis and poesis. For Plato, poesis, or what we call literary theory or even criticism, was an imitation or mimesis. Plato called poesis an imitation or mimesis because he believed drama to be a reproduction of something that is not really present, and is therefore a dramatization of the reproduction. What he means is that in a play or an epic, what happens is this: the poet recreates an experience, the audience watch the recreated experience, they are in fact encouraged to live through that experience as if they are physically within the time and space of that experience. Not only this, Plato also goes on to distinguish between mimesis and diagenesis. Mimesis is a speech of a character directly reproduced, whereas diagenesis is a narration of doings and sayings where the poet speaks in his own person and does not try to turn our attention in another direction by pretending that someone else is speaking. With this distinction between mimesis and diagenesis, it is easy for us to discern that drama is entirely mimetic, whereas epic is mimetic only where dialogue is reproduced directly. Where the poet tells the story, it is diegenetic. In short, this is what later critics have called showing and telling respectively. Plato, however, disapproved of all imitation and of dramatized dialogues. But why did Plato disapprove of mimesis? Plato was a firm believer of the true form. He believed in only the most real reality. He objected to dramatized dialogue on the grounds that such dramatization encouraged people to live lives other than their own, something parents tell children even today regarding the invasion of cable TV. Plato was merely warning people against the danger of aping roles blindly. He feared that the influence of mimesis or imitation could be so great that it could take over the minds and lives of young impressionable people and completely and become primary importance. Plato was not comfortable with the idea of grief caused by scenes of suffering in the plays. He assumed that a temporary catharsis could infect the audience so strongly that they could become emotionally uncontrollable. They are images, not realities. While the rhetoricians never questioned society on philosophy, Plato was the first serious thinker to question society along theoretical lines. All this is clearly to be seen when one reads his Republic. The poet in his eyes imitated an appearance of the abstractions, and a play, an epic, was hence a derivative or derivative, hence thrice removed from reality. Plato's work include Republic, Ion, Cratylus, and Dialogue of Plato and Phaedrus, among others. Plato has dealt a large with a notion of the poet as divinely inspired in the Phaedrus and has talked about the place of the poet in a good society in the Republic. In fact, the book number 2, he discusses the education of the good citizen. He also examines the nature of poetry and the value of imaginative literature. Book number 10 of the Republic discusses the nature of poetry at length. His most important contribution to literary theory lies in the form of his objections to poesis. He presents this argument brilliantly with reference to a painter. As we said earlier, Plato believed in true reality, in the ideal, in abstractions. For him, objects were nothing more than an imitation of the reality or the ideal. He felt that an individual imitating an imitation would produce an imitative form that was thrice removed from the ideal. Similarly, poetry for Plato did the same thing. It was inferior because it was the imitation of an imitation. His pupil Aristotle was to later examine the nature and differentiation qualities of poesis and to prove that poesis was true, serious and helpful, whereas Plato had maintained that it was false, trivial and harmful, and that the poet should be kept out of his republic.